listen carefully, you can almost hear it. The sounds of your life wafting on a gentle breeze. The distinctive melody crafted by families is especially clear, but so are the complex rhythms introduced by mentors too diverse to count, along with the infinite harmonies discovered in friendship. Even the dissonance carries a sad beauty today. For a moment, life beats with your story. It's time to debut your song, not for the first time, and certainly not the last. A composition voiced for you alone, sung by a choir of angels and accompanied by the orchestra of creation, in sync with the music of the spheres. An enraptured universe awaits the performance. It's time to play your life. Amen.
Good morning. I'm Jill Tiefenthaler, and I have the great honor of serving as Colorado College's 13th president. Welcome. Welcome, proud parents, grandparents, brothers and sisters, aunts and uncles, cousins, and friends of our graduates. Thank you for being here. Welcome, dedicated faculty, staff, trustees, alumni, and honorary degree recipients. And welcome and congratulations to the Colorado College class of 2012. Graduation is an emotional time. You're happy to be done and proud of your accomplishments, but sad to leave your friends and mentors and maybe a bit anxious about what lies ahead. As you look at the faces of your parents and family members, you're grateful for their love and support. While you will forever be the class of 2012, tomorrow you will begin to scatter to new jobs, summer adventures, and new schools across the country and around the globe. You will treasure this day and the memories of your senior year for the rest of your life. As CC's president, I hope that the pride you feel as you walk across the stage today is rivaled only by the nostalgia with which you remember this place and the relationships you forged. The class of 2012 will always hold a very special place in my heart because your last year at Colorado College was my first year as its president. I feel very lucky to have this opportunity to bid a fond farewell to you, a class who gave me such a warm welcome. Of course, commencement is about much more than saying goodbye. Today's ceremony also provides us with the opportunity to reflect on the spirit that defines your class, to celebrate the knowledge that you've acquired and created, and to look forward to the exciting potential that you offer. During the past year, I have met and developed relationships with many of you, and I have found myself in awe of your creativity and vibrancy. We've dined together at your off-campus homes, in the President's house, and met for lunch at Rastel. We've smiled and greeted each other as we walked across the quad. I've enjoyed interacting and debating with you at campus events, my office hours, and in my economics class. And I've watched you excel in the classroom and on the court, ice, and field. When I reflect on the enormous contributions you've made to our community, I am optimistic about the future of our institution, country, and global community. Your class, reflective of your generation, shares values that our society needs: a dedication to service, a genuine concern for the environment and for sustainable living, tolerance of different views and lifestyles, and an understanding of the importance of collaboration across and within communities. Our goal at Colorado College is to equip each of you with the knowledge and skills to act on your values and make the world a better place. I have already witnessed your class making a difference. Your dedication to service has fueled the Colorado College Kitchen, one of the country's oldest student-run community kitchens. Each weekend, 52 weekends a year, you served hot meals to needy individuals and sparked discussion about how to create a more just society. Your commitment to public service led to the establishment of a CC liaison for the Colorado Springs City Council, an opportunity to build bridges between the college and the city. Your concern for the environment produced and maintained the student garden, which provides a sustainable source of food for campus. Similarly, members of this class combined their passion for sustainability and entrepreneurial spirit to create the Take Charge Energy Outreach Program, which teaches local school children how to lighten their environmental footprints. Your love of nature and the environment inspired you to experience and study the beautiful Rocky Mountains, and many of you engaged in the State of the Rockies program and helped to bring national attention to the plight of the Colorado River Basin. You displayed your tolerance and appreciation for the importance of considering different views during campus debates about our endowment investment practices, students' rights and responsibilities, and the inclusiveness of our campus. Likewise, in your classes, your openness to considering different views provided a necessary starting point for an educational experience in which faculty and students learn from one another and explore new ways of thinking about problems, both ancient and modern. Your ability to walk across difference is impressive and essential to your future success and that of our society. And you are collaborative. This spirit has produced exciting initiatives that unite the Colorado College community and benefit our campus. Members of your class use knowledge gleaned from an economics course to launch the 9th Block, an on-campus venue, a bar, that now serves as needed place for students to gather. You asked for more formal venues for the student voice to be considered in college decision-making. So together we created the President's Council, a group of students who will advise the president regularly, and crafted a proposal for a student trustee, which was enthusiastically accepted by our board. Of course, your generation faces many challenges. As the world continues to shrink and become more interconnected, difference threatens to create tension and forestall progress in new and yet to be understood ways. Global economic and social challenges seem closer than ever. Your formative years during the 90s and early 2000s were relatively prosperous ones, and some worry whether your generation has the resilience to navigate our world's emerging challenges. Although we have new mediums for communication and collaboration that bring us together, these technologies also threaten to fundamentally redefine our understanding of community by eroding our ability to be fully present. However, I am very optimistic. I believe that who you are and what you've learned at Colorado College make you well equipped to face any challenge. I've seen you use technology to create new mediums for debate, reflection, and communication, not as a means of isolation. Likewise, our faculty have pushed you to learn from one another and to devote yourselves to a single subject at a time, instilling the importance of being present as a means of solving complicated problems. Resilience is required to survive and thrive in the block plan. Your faculty members stood by your side, encouraged you to pick yourselves up and continue trying. Your liberal arts education has given you nimble minds and comfort with ambiguity that will help you to thrive in this changing world. I look forward to seeing how each of you put this education to work in different professions and service to your communities. You are a talented and diverse bunch, and I'm confident that you will make us proud. As you explore the world, remember the time you spent here. As you continue to learn and to change, reflect on the times when you stumbled and even failed. Recall how your caring mentors pushed you in the right direction and stretched your imagination and spirit. Keep in touch with each other and your professors, and always remember that this community and this campus is a place that you can call home. Congratulations, and I look forward to celebrating with you and your families in Cutler Quad following the ceremony. Thank you. Now it's my pleasure to invite Dr. Suzanne Woolsey, Chair of the Colorado College Board of Trustees and mother of 3 CC alumni, to extend greetings and congratulations on behalf of the Board of Trustees.
Thank you, Jill. I know I am joined by the entire Board of Trustees in being excited and grateful to be a part of this great institution. Several of my colleagues are here today. Would the members of the Board of Trustees please stand? Although we're from a bit of a distance, we have watched this college strengthen and enrich itself in terms of resources of intellectual depth, of breadth, of intellectual excitement, and we are so pleased and proud to be part of it. I was not fortunate enough to be an alumnus, and I therefore invested my entire gene pool in this college. I'm happy to report that this is for all you parents. After some very interesting adventures, they are all in their 30s and working in things that they love doing and settled into wonderful family relationships. So it was remarkable to me going through it, but all these adventures actually helped them figure it out. So it's going to be an interesting ride for all of you, and I think it's going to be great. I appreciate all of the people on the faculty who could be here today to demonstrate how much the core of the college is represented in its intellectual achievements. And I really appreciate the parents, because having been one sitting in those rows, I know how much focus there has been in your family on your Colorado College student. And I especially appreciate the students who have shown the way in terms of a number of initiatives and a number of experiments that we didn't think could happen. Jill has mentioned several of them. I would like to just give you one anecdote. We had something called the President's Advisory Committee on Sustainability going, and we came back and recommended to President Celeste that he sign the President's commitment for sustainability. And the only thing we were really worried about, this was in 2007, 2008, only thing we were really worried about is we knew, because it was well known across America, that people were not going to change their behavior. People would not be efficient, they would not save, they would not recycle. When the fiscal crisis of 2008 hit, your student body led the entire nation in terms of projects to recycle, become more efficient, and to change the carbon footprint of this campus. And I salute you for that and many other things that you've done. Thank you very much.
Colorado College has a plethora of talented alumni, and one of our bright stars is with us today. Abigail Washburn is a 1999 Colorado College alumna and was one of the first East Asian Studies majors. Fluent in Chinese, she has embraced connecting to the culture and people of China through music and performance. Abigail's musical collaborations have included the band Uncle Earl, as well as Sparrow Quartet, which includes her husband, Bela Fleck. Her album, City of Refuge, combines American roots music and Chinese folk music in a unique blend. Abigail is one of the few foreign artists regularly touring China. At the request of the U.S. government, the Sparrow Quartet toured Tibet in 2006, something no other American band had done, and performed in Beijing during the 2008 Olympics. Recently, she played the prominent USA Pavilion at the World Expo in Shanghai. And Abigail has regular collaborations in China, a group of women musicians from the China Conservatory and Hongai. Abigail has received many awards and recognitions. This year, along with other innovative and creative thinkers, she was named a TED Fellow and presented at the 2012 TED Convention. Please join me in welcoming home Colorado College alumna Abigail Washburn.
Bright morning stars are shining. Bright morning stars are rising. Bright morning stars are rising. Day is a breaking in my soul. When I'm, thank you. When I'm singing this age-old American hymn, I'm surrounded by an image of a dark morning sky opening to the light of a new day. I feel the immediacy of beauty. I feel those first moments of morning light, and at the same time, I feel the magnitude of the eternal. I feel the rhythm of a night sky surrendering to day after day after day, year after year. It's a song of commencing for a day of commencing. So why is it that I named my commencement speech Obituary? Why is it that with this precious 20 minutes I have with the 2012 Colorado College graduating class, with you incredibly well-equipped, beautiful, curious, courageous, adventuresome students, I'm choosing to focus on death? You see, at the time I started to really dig in and think about what to say to you today, I was pacing back and forth in the living room at my house, and I noticed a Whitney Houston album sitting on the coffee table. It was my fave album when I was a kid. And given the news recently that she had passed away, I was paying homage to her by reconnecting with my inner 12-year-old that used to sing her songs in the imaginary microphone in my Midwestern childhood living room. Of course, all by myself. I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside. Give them a sense of pride to make it easier. Let the children's laughter remind us how we used to be. I decided long ago. You didn't think I'd do that. Or maybe like the big hit, the big dance hit. I wanna dance with somebody. Ooh, I wanna feel the heat with somebody. Yeah, I wanna dance with somebody who loves me. My favorite part. Somebody who loves me. But I bet you didn't actually vote me in here today to sing 1980s pop songs. It's just that in my, no, really, don't clap. Oh, God. Oh. It's just that in my pacing back and forth in my living room on that day, I couldn't help but think about the contrast of that 1980s pastel-bordered hyper-crisp photo of Whitney Houston's youthful, vibrant smile with what undoubtedly is her current physical state. And I should say right now that I'm going to share with you today a lot about how my mind works, some of which maybe I shouldn't. Nonetheless, it's your fault. You voted me in, and I'm going to give it to you. So I'll tell you that I pictured worms slithering up to the surface through her decaying eye sockets, and loam and soil pushing softly and ceaselessly against the wooden box cradling her skull, and a body deflated, emptying, surrendering to the earth. Oh yeah, that's exciting, right? Whitney Houston is now being folded back in, moment after moment, day after day, year after year, until at some point her body will no longer be recognizable, and perhaps even the memory of her will have vanished completely. Envisioning Whitney Houston in her grave was likely prompted by an incredibly uplifting experience I had at a workshop a few weeks earlier. I had the massive good fortune to be invited to a day of counseling by a group of people that have made their life's work teaching artists and people in creative fields to thrive with a capital T rather than strive with a lowercase s. And they've done it to great success. I remember the moment when the leader of the workshop said, "You will envision here and now what you want to achieve in your lifetime, and then you will come up with a plan to move toward realizing those achievements. You will take action, and you will succeed." And the co-leader of the workshop, a Native American male artist of the Choctaw tribe, then chimed in and said, "I was poor, deeply in debt, living my art, but always struggling to get by. My dream was to be able to live my art without struggle. Now I have 3 commissions for several $1,000,000. I no longer live in fear of struggle, and now I see that my dreams can also include helping the broader community of Native American artists. And in this moment, you." The 20 creative people in the room sighed audibly. Oh my God, was it possible that we could not just forever live as struggling artists? The workshop leaders handed out a workbook and said, "Fill this out and your dreams will start to come true." I opened the workbook, and the page is filled with blank lines for me to fill in. And at the top of the page is written, "Obituary." They gave us 5 minutes. They told us to write freely, fluidly, and without judgment. So here it is. I'm sharing it with you. Uncensored, sloppy free writing and all. Obituary. Abigail Washburn. She helped to create a world that through communal efforts began a massive redirection of the world's wealth and energy toward the realization of beauty and harmony, and ceased all violent behavior between nations and people by spurring the creation of local and international cultural events, cementing the victory of soulful globalization over the powers of individual and corporate gain. Meanwhile, she managed to help facilitate a fully integrated home and community where all inspiration is sourced for overcoming the greater challenges in the world, thereby spreading an undeniable and magnetic draw toward beauty and light. When she died, she passed into a love and light, painted, sewn, stitched, and sung by the dear people and places that graced her path. Writing freely, fluidly, and without judgment, that's what came out of me. And if I read that right, I think I basically want world peace before I die. And if the workshop leaders are right, I'm going to do it. And I'm standing here thinking, you're right. How am I going to create world peace? So this is where I thank you from the bottom of my heart for asking me to speak to you today. Not only is it a tremendous honor that you actually want to hear what I have to say, but also because it's forced me to face my obituary, and it's compelling me to try to figure out what I think I can actually pull off in my lifetime. I'm going to share with you 3 personal stories in an effort to explore the likelihood of me fulfilling my dreams. Story number 1. Before I left CC, I worked grounds crew for the summer. Anybody else doing that? Sweet. Then I followed my boyfriend at the time and his bluegrass band, all CC kids, to Vermont. We set up shop in the small town of Montpelier and got day jobs. Although I sang in Element, what's up, girls? I wasn't in the band and never dreamed of being a professional musician. I got a job as an assistant lobbyist at the State House and knew that eventually I wanted to use my CC degree in Asian Studies to help U.S.-China relations. I passed the Hanyu Shuiping Kaoshi, the HSK, or the Chinese equivalency exam, and readied myself to move to China to go to Beijing University Law School. One night, several months before I left Vermont, I heard an LP of Doc Watson singing and playing Shady Grove. Shady Grove, my little love, Shady Grove, my darling, Shady Grove, my little love, going back to Harlan. That sound was so beautiful, and it was so American. It was, for me, the sound of home, and I knew I needed to get an old-time banjo and take it with me to China. Being the adventuresome CC grad, fearing a future spent in a cubicle in a law firm, I took advantage of my remaining time in the U.S. and I headed out on a massive road trip of the East Coast, including 5 days of insight meditation, a solo backpacking mission along the Appalachian Trail. I visited CC friends in New York City, and as I hit the Blue Ridge Mountains, I started the musical portion of my journey with a visit to a fiddler's gathering in West Virginia, a banjo lesson in North Carolina, and last stop, Kentucky, at the International Bluegrass Music Association Convention. On the last night of the convention, a couple of young women asked me to jam, and I timidly played the 4 songs I had picked up along my journey. And wouldn't you know it, a record executive walked up and asked me to come to Nashville, Tennessee to make a record. Story number 2. Nowadays, people say to me things like, "You are a natural-born performer." And I'm going to tell you something. I am not a natural-born performer. The first time I got on stage to perform for people singing and playing banjo, I'd only been playing for a few months, and I only knew just enough songs. I was very, 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 very afraid. My particular nervousness affliction is to feel like I have to pee. And I go back and forth to the bathroom over and over again until I think surely there's nothing left. So I'm backstage. It's my first festival performance, 10-minute countdown to stage call, and I'm stuck to the porta potty. Show starts. I'm on stage. I strum a chord, sing my first few notes, and what happens? I pee down my leg. Totally gross, man. Mortified is an understatement. Luckily, I had enough wits about me to realize that the audience was too far away to notice. I kept going. I finished the show, I found paper towels, a bottle of water, a private spot backstage, and I cleaned myself up and went out to the merch table and I greeted people. Story number 3. In my first year on the road, I was given the opportunity to do an opening slot in South Carolina for a Texas singer-songwriter with an audience of folks ready to drink a beer, party down, and sing a good old Texas song. Unbeknownst to me at the time, Opening acts are often just a tool to fill time while the audience shows up late and gets drunk before the main act starts. So I get out on stage, and first thing, I dig into a lively banjo tune. I immediately notice that there are only a handful of people actually there at 8 p.m. And that handful of people stand at the foot of the stage and talk loudly, shouting drink orders at their friends as they walk toward the bar. Several songs into my set, the crowd is growing, and even fewer people are listening. I decide to cut my between-song banter short and say, this next one is an original song in Chinese. It's a story about how hard it is to be an immigrant in America. 我是一只迷途的羔羊，谁能引我走出迷茫？哪儿有我重生的希望？哦，牧羊人啊，哦，牧羊人啊。I wish I could tell you at this point that everyone shut up and listened. But in fact, only one small group of guys up front turned around and said something like, "Holy crap, man, I think that girl's singing Japanese." They start laughing and they make slant eyes. Classy. And that's when suddenly everything stopped. I was suspended, like in a kung fu movie, when everything literally hangs in the air, floating. My third eye popped wide open. I looked around at the South Carolina party, and I looked at myself on stage. And at first I felt anger, and then I felt sorry for myself. And then somehow, it all started to turn toward funny. Really funny. Here I was, singing a dramatic, original, a cappella song in Mandarin Chinese to a pile of really drunk people wanting to hear party songs with titles like, "I Want to Check You for Ticks," or "Drop Kick Me, Jesus, Through the Goalposts of Life," or "Mama, get a hammer, there's a fly on Daddy's head," or the crowd favorite, "You ain't much fun since I quit drinking." Needless to say, I became distinctly aware that this was an unideal setting for my music. And I was in the middle of a test, with a capital T. Whoomp! I'm back into my body, next song up. I finish out the set after very weak applause from about a tenth of the audience. I walk off stage and stood by the merch booth at the back of the room. CD sales were what we call in the industry slim, reaching a total of 0. The only interaction I had was an occasional point and stare from a small group, and one drunk guy who came up to me and said, "You may not have noticed, but I was watching you. That was just weird." And that was just the first show, with 5 more to go. I tell you these 3 fresh out of college stories because I know they hold important, hard-earned lessons that have helped to set my footsteps down a path that is determining my future. So in an effort to share, here's what I think I've learned. An open heart and curious mind creates miracles. I believe we discover our true calling not because we intellectually know what it is, even if we think we do, but because we are curious enough and open enough to be found by our true calling. Fear arises as a sign to let us know we are ready. We are ready for a new challenge. When we feel fear at doing something, it very likely means that it is exactly the thing we need to do. And lastly, obstacles arise to help us prepare for what we are here to do in this world. Obstacles are tests. Luckily, the outcome of making it through these tests is that challenge after challenge we grow stronger and stronger and continually morph into the vessel that achieves its dream and its purpose. So with these lessons in mind, I say begin the hard work of peeing yourself when you are scared to do something and just do it anyway. Let the slanty eye making party boys in the front row point and stare, and you march on with a full heart. Open your curious mind to possibility. Let yourself shift gears from a mountain guide to a special ed teacher, from an environmental lawyer to a self-start green entrepreneur, from a geologist PhD to a full-time father, from a law worker in Beijing to a banjo troubadour. I am thankful for retrospection because it brings glory and purpose to moments that really suck. I've let down promoters and managers and myself when only 20 people bought tickets to a show. I've gotten tongue-tied and paralyzed on live radio and TV. I've broken my own heart time and again, falling in love with collaborators and then losing them. I've compromised a home life for a traveling life. I've shed tears realizing I was going to sign that industry standard record contract that I knew to be unfair and inhumane. I've wasted time blaming others, even when it really seemed like it was their fault. And I have often thought I should give up the life of an artist and go back to school or get a real job, not only because I'm worthless and undeserving, but because my music actually really does suck. Wow, that's some pretty wicked internal criticism, right? That's what I like to call going super dark on yourself. I'm not sharing this because it's pretty or uplifting in any way, but because for me, it's real. And I think you'll probably have a handful of times in the coming years where you'll feel dark and worthless, full of shame and stuck, afraid to make a move. There's something I want so badly for you. It's that when your 2012 graduation day photo starts to date itself as a low-res digital smartphone prehistoric JPEG and some human is pacing back and forth in a living room somewhere, staring at your early 20s cap and gown graduation smile and starts to wonder what's happening to your body below the earth. The way the worms slither up to the surface through your decaying eye sockets, and loam and soil push softly and ceaselessly against the wooden box cradling your skull. I want to know that you rest there below the surface, assured that the short time you had on earth was not wasted on angst and disbelief, but that this open-hearted, life-loving, fear-overcoming, hope-bound human is just safely folding in again to the arms of the warm, grinding rhythm of eternity. I have two things I hope you remember from all this, other than, of course, my stunning rendition of Whitney Houston and the fact that I used to pee myself a lot. The first thing, when you're out of here, when you're somewhere out there frantically pursuing your master's degree or your internship, so completely certain of your path, or you're somewhere out there serving coffee all day and wondering, what in the hell am I doing with my life? Take a moment alone. Get a piece of paper, and at the top, write the word obituary. Set the timer for 5 minutes and write freely, fluidly, and without judgment what it is you will have done by the time you're really out of here. Second thing, methodically, repeatedly, and continually cultivate your mind and heart for action. The world you create within yourself is the world you create outside yourself. Overcome the fears inside of you, and as you learn to rise through the darkness on the inside, moment after moment, day after day, year after year, you will see that on the outside, you are the harbinger of light, the fulfiller of dreams, and the maker of world peace. Bright morning stars are rising. Bright morning stars are rising. Bright morning stars stars are rising. Day is a breaking in my soul. Thank you.
Musician Abigail Washburn garners widespread admiration and the respect of audiences throughout the world for her artistry, originality, and capacity to define new musical worlds. She connects American old-time music to chamber music, indie rock, electronica, and Chinese folk songs with a disregard for convention that exemplifies the adventurous spirit of CC graduates. Graduating cum laude with honors in Asian Studies from Colorado College in 1999, Washburn is the second person to have ever majored in Asian Studies, but in the words of my colleagues, the first good one.
Whoa! Not cool!
Second person to have ever majored in Asian Studies officially at Colorado College, where she focused on Chinese language and culture. As a 2012 TED Fellow, Washburn has inspired countless listeners in describing the many detours she undertook from her initial post-graduation plan to study law in Beijing and improve America-China relations. Her rediscovery of Doc Watson and the joy of singing old songs, an accidental encounter with a record company executive at the Bluegrass Convention, and her career today as a singing, songwriting, Illinois-born, Nashville-based clawhammer banjo player. That's how you describe yourself, right? Okay. Washburn's music and its stories forge emotional connections across cultures, and as she herself notes, she has most likely contributed more to America-China relations as a musician and cultural ambassador than she would have ever as a lawyer. Each of Washburn's musical endeavors has broken new ground, starting with the old-time string band, all-women string band Uncle Earl. Her first solo release, Song of the Traveling Daughter, featured 2 songs performed entirely in Mandarin, and her second album, with the Sparrow Quartet, interlaced virtuosic banjo picking from the Appalachians alongside elegant string arrangements in an assortment of original works and traditional Chinese folk songs. The album was inspired by the quartet's official invitation from Tibet to tour the region, making them the first American band to ever do so. They were also invited to perform at the 2008 Olympics in Beijing. While Washburn was teaching American music at Sichuan University in 2008, an earthquake in Sichuan province killed more than 88,000 and displaced more than 5 million people. With musician Dave Liang of the Shanghai Restoration Project, she returned there the next spring to record a benefit album, After Quake, whose acoustic and electronic music incorporates the voices of relocated and orphaned children from the area. Washburn performed at the Shanghai Expo in 2010, released another critically acclaimed solo album in 2011, and last winter was sponsored by the American Embassy, Beijing, and a tour of the Silk Road, where she collaborated with local traditional musicians across China's Wild West. Unlike other musicians who broadcast superficial, one-time engagements with outside cultures as proof of their global citizenship, Washburn has plumbed the depths of the American old-time tradition while maintaining her connection to China, a connection grounded in the rigorous study of its language and a sustained emotional investment in its people. That union of her intellect, determination, and compassion has engendered her innovative reimaginings of old-time music while also serving to manifest the ideal outcome of a liberal arts education. Her ceaseless efforts to bring different cultures into global conversation embody a profound sense of ethical responsibility that is commonly envisioned but rarely realized. It is my inestimable honor to present Abigail Washburn for the degree of Humane Letters, honoris causa.
By action of a joint committee of faculty and trustees, and by virtue of the authority vested in me, I confer upon you, Abigail Washburn, the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa, and admit you to all rights and responsibilities pertaining to that degree. As a token of this honor, I ask that you be vested with the hood appropriate to the degree, and I present you with this diploma.
Lieutenant Governor Joseph Garcia brings extraordinary passion for education and public service to our state capital. Born to a military family with deep roots in northern New Mexico, Joe grew up in cities throughout the western United States and Western Europe before earning a business degree from the University of Colorado and Juris Doctorate from Harvard Law School. Before being elected as Lieutenant Governor of Colorado, Joe held a number of high-profile positions. As Executive Director of the Colorado Department of Regulatory Agencies under former Governor Roy Romer, Joe managed and maintained budgetary responsibility for agencies such as the divisions of banking, financial services, real estate, insurance, civil rights, securities, and the Public Utilities Commission. Lieutenant Governor Garcia's impressive work in the Romer administration ultimately led to his White House appointment as the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development representative for the Rocky Mountain states. As president of the second largest community college in Colorado, Pikes Peak Community College, Joe maintained oversight of 3 campuses that serve more than 16,000 students annually. As president of Colorado State University Pueblo, Joe spearheaded an ambitious campaign to increase enrollment by constructing new residence halls and a student recreation center and by reestablishing sports programs. Within 2 years, Joe's efforts contributed to a 2-fold increase in freshman enrollment and helped the university avoid financial difficulties. In service to the state, Joe also served as co-chair of the governor's P20 Education Task Force, helping guide the development of the education reform agenda. As lieutenant governor, executive director of the Colorado Department of Higher Education, and chair of the statewide Education Leadership Council, Joe continues to combat the pressing social challenges that he has effectively addressed throughout his career by establishing programs that reduce student dropout rates, close achievement gaps among students from different racial, ethnic, and income groups, and increase student retention and graduation rates. Joe also helped launch a major early childhood literacy initiative by building a broad coalition of parents, educators, early childhood advocates, business and community leaders with the aim to increase third-grade literacy rates among all children in the state. Joe brings extraordinary talent and experience to the state capitol. He possesses the keen ability to bring groups from across the political spectrum to the table to address the pressing issues of our day. When Joe served as president of Pikes Peak Community College, I had the privilege to work directly with him on community collaborative initiatives that facilitate immigrant integration in Colorado Springs. Throughout this process, Joe impressed me greatly due to his deep commitments to the students in his university, his creative and consistent work aimed at improving high school graduation rates for American ethnic minority students, and his tireless efforts to ensure that all high school graduates residing in Colorado have the ability to attend college. Joe has many personal connections to Colorado College. His wife, Claire, is a beloved professor in the English department, and their son, Mateo, graduated CC in 2007 with a degree in economics. President Tiefenthaler, it is an immeasurable privilege to present Lieutenant Joseph Garcia for the degree of Doctor of Laws, honoris causa.
By action of a joint committee of faculty and trustees, and by virtue of the authority vested in me, I confer upon you, Joseph Garcia, the degree of Doctor of Laws, honoris causa, and admit you to all rights and responsibilities pertaining to that degree. As a token of this honor, I ask that you be vested with the hood appropriate to the degree, and I present you with this diploma.
Congratulations.
It is my pleasure to introduce a longtime resident of Colorado Springs and a great friend of the college. He is universally described as a true gentleman and a deeply modest person. Boy, is he in trouble today, because I'm about to ladle a generous portion of praise upon his head. So you might see him squirming in the seat behind me. For the young people in the audience, some of you will one day say that you saw one of the greatest jazz guitarists of the 20th century honored on graduation day, Mr. Johnny Smith. Johnny Smith is known throughout, yes! Johnny Smith is known throughout the music world as one of the most intelligent and technically gifted guitarists of all time. The jazz guitarist giant Barney Kessel said of Johnny Smith, "As far as I'm concerned, no one in the world plays the guitar better than he. They may play it differently, but nobody plays it better." His idea of the guitar blended the singular contributions of Django Reinhardt and Charlie Christian with closed chord voicings and scalar playing, and inspired the great virtuosos of the guitar that followed in his footsteps. As one of his fellow musicians stated at the time, he is a giant, the first truly major jazz guitarist since Charlie Christian. He recorded prolifically for cutting-edge labels Columbia, Concord, Verve, and played with many of the finest musicians of the golden age of jazz, including Bing Crosby, Count Basie, Stan Getz, Benny Goodman, Stan Kenton, Ray Brown, Hank Jones, Charlie Parker, the list goes on. Smith's influence on other guitarists is the equal of any of his contemporaries, and if one considers the variety of artists he's inspired, there's likely no one with his reach and impact. In his career, he played everything from Schoenberg to Gershwin to jazz originals. For years, he played almost every other week at the famous Birdland Jazz Club in New York. Smith was a brilliant sight reader and was hired by a number of organizations, from the New York Philharmonic Orchestra to NBC, where he was a staff guitarist from 1946 to 1958. By the mid-1950s, Smith's influence was so well established that several of the best guitar manufacturers, such as Guild, Gibson, and Heritage, produced signature Johnny Smith model guitars. His 1950s and 1960s recording on the Roost label are legendary and were reissued in an 8 CD set by Mosaic Records in 2002. His most critically acclaimed album, Moonlight in Vermont, featured saxophonist Stan Getz, Paul Kennichet, and Zoot Sims in arrangements as stunning for their virtuosic turns as for their spare elegance. Recognized as one of Downbeat magazine's top 2 jazz albums of 1952, Moonlight would go on to become one of the period's most influential albums. His most famous musical composition is the tune Walk, Don't Run, which was covered by Chet Atkins. Later, the Ventures heard the Chet Atkins version, simplified it, sped it up, and recorded it in 1960. The Ventures rendition went to #2 on the Billboard Top 100 in September of that year. Now, in 1998, Smith was awarded the James Smithson Bicentennial Medal, an honor bestowed annually by the Smithsonian Institution to an individual or organization that has made distinguished cultural contributions in the area of public service, the arts, science, or history. Previous recipients include Helen Hayes, Richard Leakey, Walter Cronkite, Jacques Cousteau, Pete Seeger, Sir Edmund Hillary, Steven Spielberg, and George Lucas. Johnny Smith is one of the great cultural treasures of Colorado Springs, and in the most American of all art forms, jazz. He is a light that shines beyond Colorado and beyond our nation's shores. Most importantly, we think his life as a musician exemplifies the principles the CC community holds most dear. Johnny Smith pursued his musical vision with all his might through hard beginnings. At the end of his varied and magnificent career, looks back on singularly enduring accomplishments as an artist and teacher on the world stage. An honorary degree from Colorado College is most fitting for this remarkable, reluctant hometown hero.
By action of a joint committee of faculty and trustees, and by virtue of the authority vested in me, I confer upon you, Johnny Smith, the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa, and admit you to all rights and responsibilities pertaining to this degree. As a token of this honor, I ask that you be vested with the hood appropriate to the degree, and I present you with this diploma. Colorado College has a proud tradition of having graduates be addressed by one of their own. This year, they have selected Daniel Marion as their speaker. Dan is a Colorado native who majored in English. During his 4 years with us, he's worked with the Safe Rides program, the admissions office, and has been involved with many other student organizations. He's traveled internationally for several of his classes and recently was awarded the Transition Fellowship Program Scholarship. Please join me in welcoming Dan Marion.
Thank you, Jill, for that kind introduction. In one of my original drafts for this speech, I was actually considering singing some Disney songs, but having now followed Abigail Washburn, I am so glad I did not do that. That would have been awesome. My voice is not good. CC administration, faculty, staff, friends, families, and seniors of the class of 2012, good morning and welcome. My name is Dan Marion, and I'm humbled to be this year's commencement speaker. I want to begin by sharing why I think I'm standing before you and have the honor of speaking to you today. I do not consider myself the smartest student. I do not consider myself the most involved student. And I definitely do not consider myself the tallest student. But I do consider myself someone who has taken full advantage of all aspects of CC. Academics, extracurricular activities, work-study jobs, religious life, community service, and social life. So hopefully I can represent a part of all of you. The title of my speech is Understanding What Ithacas Mean. Ithaca is a poem by C.P. Cavafy named after the Greek island that is the mythological home of Odysseus. I was introduced to the poem by professors and friends Lisa B. Hughes and Barry Sarche during a summer course in Greece that became one of my most memorable experiences here. The poem brilliantly captures the apparent juxtaposition between the journey and the destination, a point where all of us graduates find ourselves today. The first time I read the poem was on the picturesque island of Kea. Like most Greek islands, the town is situated up a mountain, away from the coast, to help prevent from pirate attacks. After hiking into the Greek hillside, we perched ourselves next to the inexplicable Lion of Kia, for nobody knows exactly who carved the statue or when. But as mysterious as it is, the lion's face, similar to our very own CC tiger, does not have the typical ferocious snarl. Instead, the Lion of Kia offers a comforting smile, perhaps suggesting he may know something we do not. Ithaca, by C.P. Cavafy, can also seem mysterious at first, for the end of the poem transforms this singular Greek island into the plural Ithacas. After this speech, I hope everyone will understand why Cavafy does this, at which point you can also smile like the Lion of Kia, since you too will understand something that not all people understand. To get there eventually, I want to first talk more generally about what makes Colorado College so great. And one thing I realized is that CC loves its acronyms. We have things like PROWL, the platform and repository for online and web-based learning, and of course, the FUCC, the Free Riders Union of Colorado College. So I thought it'd be fitting to add one more to the list. And like Ithaca, the word is Greek. The acronym is OPA, the colloquial saying used as an exclamation or affirmation. When someone makes a toast at the dinner table, you shout, OPA! When everyone starts dancing, you shout, OPA! And when someone else pays for the bill, what do you shout? OPA! Actually, you just say thank you. But I love your enthusiasm. For this acronym, O stands for the opportunities CC offers, P for the people CC attracts, and A for the attitude, one could say philosophy, of a liberal arts education. O, opportunities. When I came to CC, I started writing in a journal. Now do not call it a diary because that thing is a journal. The first thing I wrote was that I didn't feel cool enough to go here because it seemed like everyone already had a resume full of epic adventures, like going to India or Paris. And I wrote down in my journal, that again is not a diary, I think that's why I came to CC, to make outstanding memories that I couldn't anywhere else. Classes here do everything, from exploring the visible geology around Colorado and New Mexico, to going abroad to places like Chile, Italy, Taiwan, or where I went, Greece. Our class read the Odyssey and spent 2 weeks in Athens and then 2 weeks sailing around to various Greek islands, tracing Odysseus' path home to Ithaca. We investigated archaeological ruins that could have been Nestor's palace and explored deep, mysterious caves that were considered the underworld or that could have been home to the beautiful nymph Calypso. What other college lets its students do things like that? The block plan affords opportunities that would be impossible anywhere else. P, people. The people are without a doubt one of the best parts of Colorado College. We all have different majors, different opinions and beliefs, and different upbringings, but we can bond and connect through our common interests. Students are creative and down for any adventure. But it's not just the students, not just the professors, it's literally everybody. Our acclaimed professors encourage intelligent thought and are so approachable that 93% of students get to have a meal at a professor's house at some point during their CC career. The incredible faculty, staff, and administration are friendly and helpful, fostering an environment of learning and growth. And the charitable donors, trustees, and alumni help make all of our unbelievable experiences possible. The people here are truly amazing, bless you. A, attitude. The attitude of a liberal arts education is different than typical universities. More than anything, CC teaches its students how to learn. The way we learn is distinct, and what we do learn is critical thinking, how to write well, time and stress management skills, and how to be creative. Through stimulating liberal arts classes, CC really allows its students to define their college experience, instead of letting their college experience define them. It's like our website says, we're not waiting for our lives to begin, we're not waiting for the future to happen. We're living it, starting now. Most schools train their students for a career, but CC teaches its students how to have more than a career and then some. It teaches us how to live. If you agree that the opportunities, people, and attitude make CC special, then this will be an appropriate time for you to get your Greek on and shout Opa. On 3. A little early, but I like it. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Opa! And now, the moment you've all been waiting for, drum roll please. The poem that captures the paradoxical relationship between the journey and the destination. But before I begin, I want you to place yourself in the poem by imagining that you are Odysseus. Strong, handsome, smart. You even conceived the Trojan horse, you sneaky little trickster. Not to mention, you fooled the Cyclops and poked his eye out. Look at you go. You've definitely earned your fame, your kleos, as they say in Greek. And with that, Ithaca by C.P. Cavafy. As you set out for Ithaca, hope the voyage is a long one, full of adventure, full of discovery. Lastrygonians and Cyclops, angry Poseidon. Don't be afraid of them. You'll never find things like that on your way, as long as you keep your thoughts raised high, as long as a rare excitement stirs your body and your spirit. Lastrygonians and Cyclops, wild Poseidon. You won't encounter them unless you bring them along inside your soul, unless your soul sets them up in front of you. Hope the voyage is a long one. May there be many a summer morning when, with what pleasure, what joy, you come into harbor seen for the first time. May you stop at Phoenician trading stations to buy fine things, mother of pearl and coral, amber and ebony, sensual perfumes of every kind, as many sensual perfumes as you can. And may you visit many Egyptian cities to gather stores of knowledge from their scholars. Keep Ithaca always in your mind. Arriving there is what you are destined for. But do not hurry the journey at all. Better if it lasts for years, so you are old by the time you reach the island, wealthy with all you have gained on the way, not expecting Ithaca to make you rich. Ithaca gave you the marvelous journey. Without her, you would not have set out. She has nothing left to give you now. And if you find her poor, Ithaca won't have fooled you, wise as you will have become, so full of experience. You will have understood by then what these Ithacas mean. Now, today, we have reached an end. But for us, it is definitely not the end. And that is what it means to understand Ithacas. Go get 'em, Tigers. Thank you.